Good morning, Xibalba. Welcome in, welcome in. We have a beautiful weekend in review to discuss today. Man, straight from the top, let's go over your war report from the weekend. Many a fights were had. It was absolutely wild. So let's start there. First off, we fought and took Breakwater. This war here was incredibly close. Okay, I can't say that with a straight face. It wasn't a total steamroll. We took points B and C in the first 2 minutes of the fight, but they managed to hold point A for almost 4 minutes. And then after point A was lost and the, purple tide breached the wall, it was all downhill from there. No offense to the jailers of Xibalba, but your time is over. It was wonderful having you here when we did, but your time is done. Secondly, we fought up in Brightwood. And now, I'm going to go into very excessive detail on the Brightwood War towards the end of the show. So if you guys want to stick around and hear all of my very strong feelings on the Brightwood War, stick around. We'll catch up with that at the very end. Upcoming wars that we will talk about in the weekend review, we have Everfall tomorrow. We have First Light also tomorrow. And then we also have Restless tomorrow. 3 wars at the exact same time. Purple's busy tomorrow. As far as upcoming fights, we are pushing in Brightwood and Morningdale. So those two should go into conflict, hopefully, here in, I would say, the next day. So those wars should be being covered on the weekend in review, unless something absolutely miserable happens. Beyond that, let's take a quick look at some stocks. So remember, we talked about the price of metals earlier in the week. Let's take a peek at those. Orichalcum ingots. Let's take a quick look at these. Look at this, still climbing. Orichalcum prices were already high and they are just going up. If you live on Xibalba, I highly recommend that you take the time and just farm a bunch of orichalcum ingots. At this rate, there is no reason not to. You are just leaving money on the table. Like, if you have the ability to go farm orichalcum, go farm orichalcum. Make your ingots. This is just money. It's just pure profit. But now, again, how do we get to orichalcum? Same question I proposed last time on the stock report. Star metal. Now you see here, we have a couple of people undercutting the star metal market. Now, I don't know if this means that the star metal market is going to continue to get cheaper. I hope so, personally. That'd be great. Because I know that some of our crafters are going to go and buy up all of this right here. So that way they can make cheap orichalcum. I say they can make cheap orichalcum, but that's still so expensive. We're talking at like almost 10 gold a bar to make. But even at 10 gold a bar to make, you're still making 15 profit on your 10 gold investment to make the damn bar. Wild to me. Absolutely wild. With that being said, there's also a few other things I want to point out as things that you guys can be grinding really easily. If you guys, like us here in the Reality Bros, are getting ready for server mergers by doing chest runs on repeat, Tracker Seal. See, there's 2 on the market right now, 10k and 13k. These are so easy to get. If you are chest running with a full luck set, I've pulled a Tracker Seal. I mean, all of these pieces right here, Crest of Fortitude, Scaling Powder, Chef's Secret Cookbook. This was one of our guys. All of these crafting components, these, legendary components, they just drop like wildfire out of these chest runs. Like, it's wild. If you are actively farming chests, you are getting these items. Some of them sell for a lot, some of them not so much. But anything that is involved with a trophy piece is big money. And I super hope that you guys are all taking the time to do your chest runs as often as you possibly can. Like, look here, pure resin. Pure resin, look at this. It's a logging trophy piece. And it's 10K. And these things sell. They sell. And that's what's crazy to me. So, please, take the time to go do your chest runs. Get your farming in. Not only are you getting these super hot drops, you're also getting your watermark increased. Because here, with our next segment actually, you know what? We're just going to roll into it. So now, let's go over the upcoming content here in the December public test round patch notes. Now, some of this may change between now and the full release, but there's a lot to discuss here. I am going to link this link in the video description, and I will just encourage you guys to give this whole thing a read for yourself. But we're going to go over the highlights of it. Quick notes version, the high watermark system is gone. It is being replaced by expertise. You will have an experience level up thing that appears on the screen when you get a new experience up. Gypsum is a new daily resource that you can get by performing a variety of endgame activities. Level 60 plus open world name bosses, defeating final bosses of Laz and Jen, outpost rush caches, trade skill aptitude containers, which we will discuss here in a bit, arena caches, breach caches, hostile creatures level 55 plus that after you drink an attunement potion. So what these things do though, all this gypsum, you take it to the end game zone into the kiln where you craft gypsum orbs from various types of gypsum. Gypsum orbs then can be crafted into casts of any weapon, armor, or trinket. Opening a gypsum cast will guarantee an expertise bump and reward players with the gear from that cast. So say, for example, your fire staff is at gear score, or your expertise level in fire staff, is 550. Okay? Medium of the road. Your cast will give you a bump in your expertise. Now, in other patch notes and dev notes about the gypsum system, they have said that the casts will reward a significant increase. Now, in the PTR, I personally have crafted 3 of the casts. First one took me up by 4. Second took me up by 7. And the third took me up by 8. Now, I did this in different items, so it's hard to say, but it feels like each time you make a cast, it will be a significant increase. Not just a little one. Other things we want to talk about. Increased rewards for expeditions to further incentivize doing them. In addition to gypsum drops, each expedition boss will guarantee a random expertise bump. Note, arena bosses also guarantee a bump. And chests in Lazarus and Genesis provide expertise game bumps, or have a chance to. And they have added timeless shards. Oh boy, Nothing, I repeat, nothing is more important to crafting in this goddamn game than these timeless shards. Timeless shards, a new crafting ingredient that can be used to guarantee specific stats on weapons and armor. A timeless shard is a crafting artifact that enables the player to craft an item with a specific attribute while still being able to use a craft mod to guarantee a perk. What you're telling me here is, I don't need to random roll my gear anymore. I can just go, if these aren't tradable, I can just go with my crafter to go get him timeless shards, and then pass him the materials, and my crafter can then, looky fucking here, guarantee my stat and a perk? What? What the fuck is that? Insanity. That is what that is. Pure fucking insanity. That's insane. By all, end all, that is the dumbest shit, period. People that have money, people that own territories, everybody right now needs to be stacking resources. So that way, once the shards are dropped, all you gotta do, run dungeons on repeat. You're increasing your expertise level by running the dungeons anyway. You're getting the gypsum from running the dungeons anyway. So all of your expertise levels are just stonking up through the roof. And you're picking up timeless shards. Now, they have a bunch of extra adjustments here. All of this, there's a lot here. I'm not going to go through it all. TLDR made a number of adjustments in the endgame difficulty to compensate for over-tuning we did in the November patch. Our goal here is to find a middle ground between the too easy endgame content we had pre-November and the over-tuned HP sponges we had afterwards. And then they list all of the nerfs here. The Winter Convergence Holiday Event. Now, I am not going to spoil anything for anybody. This event looks extremely cute and is incredibly fun. Available on the PTR if you want to go look for yourself. I am here for all of it. I'm a big fan of everything we have going on here with this. More fixes, more AI fixes, more dungeon AI fixes. Lots of good stuff here. The Slicer ability on enemies was rebalanced. I'm not going to say it was nerfed. But it was rebalanced. PvP rebalanced. I don't know how I feel about this. I think it's gonna be good, but if they do it wrong, it will be kind of miserable. More and more and more rebalancing. More rebalancing. More rebalancing. Ah, here we are. New perks! Efficiency perks for logging, mining, skinning, harvesting. Plagued crits. Plagued strikes is the one that I'm most excited for. Heavy attacks against the target inflict disease for 8 seconds, reducing healing effectiveness on the target by up to 10 to 40%. As a fire staff main, basically all I do is heavy attack. Like, run my abilities every on cooldown, but then it's just all heavy attacks. So if I'm raining heavy attacks into the ball in a war, and I'm reducing people's healing effectiveness? It's insane. Absolutely insane. The other one that I am most excited for is Trenchant Strikes for just additional heavy attack damage. But there's a lot of good here. I think Plague Strikes and Plagued Crits, if you're a crit build, Plague Crits is huge. Plague Strikes, also huge. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Trade Skill Aptitude. The TLDR on Trade Skill Aptitude. If you have 200 in a crafting skill, or a trade skill, excuse me, the leveling circle will update to show 3 markers equidistant from each other. Trade Skill XP will begin progressing as you craft stuff. When you reach one of those markers, you'll be rewarded with a container of useful items that are mostly, I like how they put it like that, mostly trade skill relevant, such as craft mods, ingredients, schematics, and recipes. Each subsequent marker adds a more spectacular container, so the third container is always going to be the best. And they keep a tracker for you. Super cool. Now, I want to talk real quickly about this. Equipment patterns. Equipment patterns are crafting artifacts that enable you to craft a guaranteed gear score 600 that has a specific appearance. Patterns require a significant amount of a powerful crafting resources to create, but guarantee a gear score 600 item. Patterns still roll perks, and players have the normal amount of control over their outcome with craft mods, Azoth, and timeless shards. If it's the normal amount of control, keyword, then the timeless shards should apply here, and you're crafting guaranteed 600s with two things. I can craft a guaranteed gear score 600 fire staff with intelligence and plague strikes. Absolutely insane. I'm so excited for it. As we see here, there's just a lot of stuff to look at, to talk about. I'm going to link this in the video's description. I highly suggest you guys come through, take a look, take a read, really dig into these weapon rebalancings, these weapon fixes, really dig into this stuff, dive into the information. Genuinely, you guys will find something here that'll catch your eye. This is just all that's, caught mine. Now, if you have made it this far into the video, let's talk about Brightwood. You see, Brightwood here is green. For those of you that have been a long-term watcher of Good Morning Xibalba, you will know that Brightwood, just here recently, was purple. I don't want to ever talk poorly about anyone. We are a news show. We give the news as unbiased as we can. Now, with that being said, I, Fluff, right here and now, as both the representative from the Mage Bias News Network and your show, Good Morning Xibalba, am going to take a stance right now. You cannot teach people how to fight in a war if you don't let the people who are good at war teach them. You will just experience loss. Now, with that being said, you also need to respect people's roles. If you have one company that represents the syndicate in every war as the siege team, you would expect them to be geared to run siege. And then if something happens to siege, then they can go do their other things. Not only did the leader of the Brightwood War not have the leader of the Syndicate siege team on the siege team, he actively had the Syndicate war leading company out. There are two companies in the Syndicate right now that actively run wars. You two companies know who you are, and we as a syndicate know that you guys do wonderful work to take all of our hard work that we've put together as a syndicate and take all of our experience and just throw it to the side so you can teach your guys how to do it is absolutely fucking insane. That is just strictly wrong. And the cost of that idiocy was Brightwood. They know now. Oh, now they fucking know. But they had to lose one of our key purple territories to fucking get that knowledge? You cannot convince me that was a good idea. You absolutely cannot convince me that was a good idea. I digress. This is a very long video. This is not the short, concise news that I like bringing you. This was long. There was a lot of information, a lot of things to unpack. But I urge you to see us back here Friday for the weekend review. Because I tell you what, 3 wars tomorrow, multiple invasions, potential upcoming conflicts. This Friday's episode of Good Morning Xibalba, whew, lots of stuff going on. It's going to be wild. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Again, I'm Fluff, representing the Reality Bros, and everybody here on the MBN network. Xibalba, you are loved.